Dan, let's get straight to the point. You've got the hardest job at the football club, haven't you?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Obviously, everyone works hard, but getting money from everywhere and anywhere, yeah, it's tough.
I mean, I know because I've done that job. It's an unenviable job to get the money in, but certainly from this season's perspective, it's got to be a lot easier when the team are playing well. People want to be associated with success, don't they?
Yeah, it's been throughout the whole season. Really, it hasn't just been pre-season deals. People have come to us and said, we like what we're doing off the field, on the field, and they've supported us in so many different ways.
And that's important, isn't it? As much as what's on the field is what's off the field. Because if the club doesn't have a very good reputation, people don't want their brand associated with it. Because it doesn't take long for a brand to be destroyed by association with a brand that's failing.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. It's an experience I've had pre-season approaching companies that may have been involved with us in the past, and they've not wanted to come on board the season, and yeah, it does happen.
And as the season progresses, it gets harder because if you're just mid-table or you're not performing, and you're selling season-long sponsorship, and you get to sort of January, February, people say, "Oh, forget it, come and see me next year." But often that's when you need the money the most, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, we have different types of packages. So we've gone for pre-season, kind of season-long, and then we've got some January to December ones. So everything we can do to help Jimmy and the budget and the team, absolutely, we've got to do what we can.
So I always felt that it would be good as a subscription model because quite often football is seasonal by the nature of the sport, but the football club is here 24/7 throughout the whole year, and there's that lull, isn't there, as soon as the season ends, but the money still needs to come in. And I always felt that if there was some sort of membership or Netflix style, keep paying, keep pinging the card, and get certain benefits. Is that something that the club would consider?
Absolutely. We've got some deals, like you said, that do help us off season, because obviously, backroom staff need to be paid still, office staff, and some players are obviously paid every month. So, yeah, it's something we'll look at, definitely.
How do you get yourself motivated? Because when you get a no and another no, or a maybe, it can be quite soul destroying, can't it? And you've got to keep chasing.
Yeah, it's just targets, knowing, what the playing budget target is with Jimmy, and, that's what we've got to make throughout a season, and just got to dust yourself off and carry on. Like you said, how hard it is, and you've got to think of different incentives, and it's not just, hi, Dave, can we have your money for this season? It's what will Dave get out of it? What will, how can we work together? And looking at all different things, really.
And you've got to deliver on those promises. I mean, that actually, in some respects, once you've got the money, it'd be easy to just walk away, but you've got to keep those relationships going, especially if you want people to stick with the club.
Yeah, and I think that's key for me coming in. It's looking at delivering outcomes for what people want. So sponsors want social media reach and, boards outside, and it's making sure that they're happy and we're delivering on our promises, really.
Is it hard to convince people, particularly in a recession, to part with their money or their, services?
Yeah, I think a lot of the no's that we've had have been, we're coming outside of COVID, we're coming outside of, obviously, all businesses struggling. And I think they're the most common theme that comes back as a no. But yeah, it's difficult. I think probably coming at the most difficult time past COVID and things like that. So yeah, it's hard.
And if you could sort of have an ideal day at the office, I mean, what is a typical day? What is the Dan day at the office like?
It could be anything. I take a lot of the social media on now, so it's doing TikToks, Facebooks, thinking how to be inventive, and doing a lot of the marketing. Anything that's trending, you've got to just get on the trend and think, how can we make money off that without, ruining the club's, not ruining the club's reputation, but being, looking good, I guess.
Well, I mean, there's a video out there, and it makes no sense to me, but then I'm not down with the kids. And it's had a lot of views, and you send yourself up in it, and so does Sophie from the corporate side of things. And you're getting some stick, and you're getting some praise. Do you care?
No, because, our gate was up just gone, and the bar staff were saying there was a lot more kids here. Have they come because of the video? Yeah, I think they have. I think it trebled our kind of views on TikTok. One of the tweets we had was over 500,000 interactions. So,
And with those views, those metrics, is a tool in your kit, isn't it, that you can go to a sponsor and say, look, if your brand is associated with us, like these videos, if these videos get highly watched and there's a brand on it,
yeah,
that's great return on investment.
Yeah, we had 2 tweets alone in January reached over 1 million kind of people.
And you're trying to be a bit more strategic about the marketing now, because it can be a bit hit and miss, and we just don't know, do we, what's going to be popular, and some of the least expected things suddenly trend, and you're like, wow, we've got to do more of that, and then that doesn't trend, so you're always got to be on your game, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely. It's looking, it's not a 9 to 5 job. It's not just being here, it's going home, being on your phone, seeing if you get an email from a different company, you've got to think, we could take advantage of that and use it to our disposal, really. And
it doesn't take much, does it? I mean, there was a tweet put out by Leamington Football Club, and it's a historical tweet that just says, on this day, Leamington had come to Liberty Way and won 2-0. One of the scorers that day was a legend of non-league football, Mark Bellingham. Note the name. So it's doing okay. I'm copied in on it because I commentated for BBC on that day, and then a certain Jude Bellingham liked it. And then what happens? It gets...
I can imagine.
It goes everywhere, doesn't it?
Yep.
And that's how this club has to be opportunistic, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think we've got to almost move to the next level. A lot of our fan base is kind of the older generation, just from kind of ticket sales and just seeing kind of in the stands. So we need to hit that next kind of generation of fans.
And that's the hard balance, isn't it? So, you've got people who are post 75 years old who wouldn't know TikTok if it landed on their head.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that disparagingly, but I know from talking to them, they'd still miss having a newspaper put through the door and seeing the results and the match reports. And if you say to them, well, the report's online, sorry, I don't do the internet, you still want to keep them, but then again, you've got to make it appropriate to the younger people and make something 20 seconds long, captures their imagination, gets them through the door.
Yeah, we've got to stay current. We know there's fans that just go onto the website, they won't go onto Facebook, and that's why we've got to keep that relevant. But then there'll be fans that, like you said, just go on TikTok and might want to see Luke Bembo's celebration, or just like you said, just the goals, 20 seconds goals, and that's it. So yeah, you've got to kind of judge your audience.
And a football audience is fickle, isn't it? And you also, the same audience is other fans of other football clubs, isn't it? Who come in and give you a load of stick. So let's talk about the boost the budget, which, whether it's ethically right or wrong, nobody's forced to give money, but other clubs will go, oh, how dare you? And you don't know whether that's jealousy or whatever. So boost the budget is doing probably better than most people would have expected. You're probably not going to hit the target you set yourself.
Yep.
But it's a significant amount of money at a time of year when people haven't got any money, and actually, it's not the time when most people give money after Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, it was bought out of, a lot of people said, how can we contribute? They've got season tickets, what else can we do? So, if we were sitting in 12th, 14th, would we have done it? Probably not. There probably wouldn't be a need to do it. That extra promotion or push, it's been successful. It's £25,000 was the target. After everything's added in, we're probably going to look at £15,000, which is, that's more than I expected, 100%.
And for a club like Nuneaton at this time of year, that can make a huge difference. So, put you on the spot, let's get to the point. How's that money going to be spent?
Solely on the budget. 100% on the budget.
So, but there would be a budget in place anyway. So this is boost the budget. So can fans expect to see new players coming through the door? There isn't long left.
Yeah, obviously it's not for me to pick the team and sign the players. But if we can get obviously more money, Jimmy and Andy have more money to play with for promotion. Obviously Kyle Storer, a lot of the boost the budget, will go to that, but there's,
Kyle was already through the door before you launched that. So, is that a gamble? Has Kyle's wages already been accounted for and now this is plus money?
Yeah, we had a couple of extra sponsors came in and said, we'll contribute towards that, which we've put towards the booster budget as well. So, yeah, essentially there will be more money, and I'm sure Andy and Jimmy will want to add to the squad as they see fit. So that's not my role.
No, you can't pick the team or say how it's going to be spent, but people will be curious about how it, they don't want it just to be paid. Fans want the best on the pitch, don't they? They're not interested in whether it pays for the floodlights to be turned on and off, even though we know that that's an essential thing on a match day to cover those costs. And you've incentivised the boost the budget. So there are things that people, and it's coming to a close now, but there are little gifts that people get. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so there's, for £10, we've got a end of the season festival, going to be called Borough Fest.
Right.
Not launched that yet, but, that's everyone that contributes will be invited to that as a thank you. And then as you go up in the kind of financial tiers, I guess, you get more. So £20, you can have a personalised mug, but you'll then get the invite to the Borough Fest as well. So there's, if we had 4 or 5 people have paid for boost the budget to do an away director's experience. So you'd be classed as an away director with us.
Oh, and you can travel and...
Yeah, and they'll go on the coach. So, we got the stadium sponsorship from it as well. So, different varied from £10 to £5,000.
Because you've got to be creative, haven't you? You stand still, you go backwards in football, don't you? You've got to be thinking outside the box the whole time. And there are people involved who don't want to be named, and we don't really want to reveal who they are, who've got expertise and experience in this kind of online world that we're now in.
Yeah.
And that's making a huge difference, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of people behind the scenes that are helping.
So with the ticketing, with the booster budget, the festival as well?
Yeah, a lot of the things behind, like you said, festival,
What's that going to look like? I mean, obviously, you haven't quite planned that. I mean, hopefully it's a promotion party, but we've got to be careful because we're going to get super stitched up. If that all goes pear-shaped, then nobody wants to come to a we didn't quite make it festival.
So we're looking at doing a tribute festival out in the car park, and then on the pitch we're going to have a corporate tournament throughout the day. So
people can sign up, come play on the pitch.
Yeah.
And bands playing outside.
Yeah, family festival all day.
Brilliant. And for a team like Nuneaton and a community like Nuneaton, that's what we want, isn't it? Bring everybody together.
Yeah, so the aim is to get everyone from mums, dads, grandmas, sons, daughters, the whole family. We've
been talking a lot in these interviews and around the ground for a long time about the importance of Nuneaton Football Club belonging to the Nuneaton community. Now, not talking literally, not everybody's going to have a share in the club, but they're going to feel like they belong and be part of it. And you're an outsider.
I am.
So, you get some stick for that as well. You're not from around here. You don't even speak like us. You say cob instead of batch. What's that all about, you weirdo? But you've really fully invested into this, haven't you?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Before I started the job, I didn't know Nuneaton Borough existed. I support Leicester City, so like you said, I'm from Leicester. I'm a Cobb man, but fully immersed myself in the town and getting to know people and places, and
it gets in your blood, doesn't it? I know from speaking to you personally that you're fully invested. You care. You're cheering for the club when they're on the pitch. You're working hard off it as well, and that's in a very short space of time that you've taken this on. Yeah,
I mean, I didn't think I'd be listening to away games, but when I'm at home with my kids, I'll put the away radios on, which teams do, and I am invested. I love the club now, and I do. I'm a fan now, 100%.
And just in terms of how you got involved with the club, this wasn't a post that was advertised, as far as I remember. It was just, how did that land in your lap?
So I had a job. I was due to start a job on the 1st September, and I came and seen Jimmy through a connection, and he sold the club to me, sold the role.
He's good at that. Yeah,
he is. And I just had to tell my employer I'm not going to start tomorrow. And
that's a risk, isn't it? Because this commercial job is fragile. I don't think they give many long service awards out for people who stick as commercial manager.
No, you've got to meet targets. If I come back to Jimmy and Jason Chairman and say, look, we've not hit the target.
Can you give us an idea what that target is? I mean, is it horrendously high? I mean,
I don't think it's as high as people think, but then we've got other things like the gate receipts and the bars and things like that. So it's not.
And also the in-kind gestures. I mean, we've talked about this before. Is that somebody invests their time or some resources or some materials, which the club would normally have to go and purchase, then that's a good win for you, isn't it? Although it doesn't look so good on a spreadsheet.
Yeah, so a lot of our sponsors will come and say, if we need some wood for the decking, that got extended, so they donated wood manpower to do it, which would cost thousands of pounds for us, but they will donate that. That's why I think what I've noticed is we are so lucky to have the sponsors that we've got.
And that's, I was going to finish on that note, is that with those people who give the money, they're giving so much more, aren't they? A lot of them, and I mean, I think when I was here at the club, then there was only a couple that said, look, here's your money. I don't want to see you again. Don't worry, I'm not really a football fan, but I want to support the town. And that would be it. But there are a lot of people who are here on a match day in the boardroom. That's a hard sell as well, isn't it?
Yep.
Getting people in there on a Saturday every week. But you've made a real good job of that. Yeah,
we've had obviously Tamworth and Aston Villa for our sins, I guess. We sold out 2 rooms. But no, the boardroom's been a success. And you got some stick for that as well. I mean, you can't win, can you? I mean, and I can see it from both points.
100%. If I was tasked, fill that boardroom with high-paying punters to keep this sustainable, at the expense of the regular fans who've been coming here through thick and thin, and come rain or shine, and now have got to go and drink outside.
Yeah, it was 2 unexpected. Well, I guess Tamworth is expected, but 2 events that we had to capitalise on. The Aston Villa game. Would anywhere else get 2,500 for a Birmingham Senior Cup game?
Do you know, I've got to say that if anybody had said to me, how many do you think will be at that game? I would never have predicted. I mean, how the club and you sold that, because we all knew it was going to be their under 23s. There's no way Unai Emery's going to come, or Stephen Gerrard if it was him at the time. I can't remember which. I mean, I think the most famous person in the ground was the ref.
Yeah, Andre Mariner. Yeah, we got lucky. Tyrone Mings has been doing some bits here for his brands, and we capitalised, and it was a success for us.
It's huge. Yeah, and hopefully some of those fans would keep coming back.
Yeah, we have seen fans keep coming back, and there's a lot of kids that night.
And the average gate has gone up, hasn't it?
Yep.
I think that, what was it? We were looking at break even at 450 or something like that, was it? I think.
Now we're about 700, 750. Yeah.
Brilliant. So what's the future hold then? Are you going to get an assistant in, or are we not quite there yet?
It'd be nice. It'd be nice to have, spreading the load, social media, marketing, commercial. I've not branched into the club shop and other bits that kind of fall under my remit. So it'd be nice to have some.
Brilliant. Well, listen, I know how hard that job is, and that's why I started with that question, because I do think, I mean, Jimmy's got a hard job. The players are all working hard, but yeah, your job is hard every single day. So good luck with it in the future. The club relies on people like you, and it's batch, not cob. If you want more information about Nuneaton Borough Football Club, sign up to our social media channels or go to the website.